What's up everybody, I'm Pokémon Gaming and I am back with another Pokemon TCG strategy video. Today we're going to talk about the Radiant Pokemon from Astral Radiance. So these Pokemon are really cool, obviously they look really cool, and there's a lot to go over about Radiant Pokemon. So let's go ahead and get started. And a reminder, if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. That will help support the channel and keep you notified whenever I upload new Pokemon TCG content. So as you can see here, I happen to have one of each of the Radiant Pokemon. And I actually picked these up recently online through trades. I traded away a few Astral Radiance packs to pick up these Radiant Pokemon, and I was very surprised at how easily I was able to come across these. Radiant Greninja is definitely the best of the three, and it's been getting a lot of play recently. It's definitely a very popular card, and I was actually only able to trade away 2 Astral Radiance packs to get this Radiant Greninja, which I was very surprised. I thought I would have to trade away a lot more Astral Radiance packs to get a Radiant Greninja, but I actually only needed 2, which was pretty awesome. So I kind of thought at first that was just I got lucky. Someone just made a bad trade that they put out there, and I was able to give away 2 packs for this Greninja. But as I looked into it more, Radiant Greninja is actually a very good card, but it does not come at a big price. You can actually find it on sites like TCG Player for about $3 to $4, which really is not that bad. And considering the fact that you can only carry 1 in your deck, so essentially you only need 1 Radiant Greninja, that's a pretty good investment in my opinion. So let's cover Radiant Pokemon overall real quick, and then we can go into each of these Radiant Pokemon a little bit more. So Radiant Pokemon have made their debut in Astral Radiance. We have 3 of them, and Radiant Pokemon will continue to be released in the following sets. I know right now in the Japanese set, Dark Phantasma, there are at least 2 more Radiant Pokemon. I believe there's a Gardevoir and a Steelix. So Radiant Pokemon are not stopping with Astral Radiance, they're going to be continuing in the following sets. If you like Prism Star Pokemon, you'll probably like Radiant Pokemon. So Radiant Pokemon are very similar to Prism Star Pokemon. With Prism Star Pokemon, you could only have 1 of a Prism Star in your deck, so essentially like Prism Star Deontay, you could only have 1 of those in your deck, which you could also have maybe a Prism Star Heat Factory in your deck if you would like that. But as far as Radiant Pokemon go, Radiant Pokemon are just Pokemon. There's no trainer cards or energy that are Radiant, and you can only have 1 Radiant Pokemon in your deck, so it's not 1 Hawlucha and 1 Heatran and 1 Greninja, it's just 1 of the 3. You can only have 1 Radiant Pokemon in your deck. As far as accumulating these in real life, it's not too hard, as I mentioned earlier. Greninja going for about $3 to $4 on a lot of card buying websites, and these other ones actually quite a bit less. They're actually fairly common. I believe you can find about 4 Radiant Pokemon in a booster box, which is about, let's see, so there's about maybe, I don't know, it's a pretty good chance of getting a Radiant Pokemon. I got stuck in a math hole there, but yeah, Radiant Pokemon, pretty easy to come by actually, and you can actually find these in the reverse holo slot of a Pokemon TCG booster pack. Obviously it's only Astral Radiance, but so you could potentially come across a big pack if you were to pull maybe a Pokemon V or V-Star as well as a Radiant Pokemon in the same pack, which is pretty cool. And there are only 3 of them in Astral Radiance, but as I mentioned, more are coming in the future. So the 3 Radiant Pokemon we have are Heatran, Hawlucha, and Greninja. As you can see, the artwork on all of these is really cool. The one thing that I find a bit interesting about these is that Heatran and Hawlucha kind of have the same art style, where it's the Pokemon on kind of a more basic background. You can see Heatran has these cool blue flames, and Hawlucha has that green and orange and blue. But Greninja has this very well drawn background, which I feel like kind of sets him apart from the other 2. Maybe that's why he's a lot better in the competitive scene. But these are also all shiny Pokemon. It's kind of harder to tell with Heatran. He actually has purple eyes as opposed to his normal colored eyes. Hawlucha is very cool looking. He's kind of got some pink going on with some green, some blue, some black. And then Greninja Greninja is hands down my favorite Pokemon, so I love this one. I think the shiny version looks even better than the regular. He's got his orange with the black and the blue, looking really cool with him sitting on that rock. So Radiant Pokemon, as I mentioned, very cool, very playable as far as Greninja and kind of Hawlucha go. Heatran, can't say much about him, so let's go ahead and start diving into each individual card and talk about how it works in the competitive scene. So, Radiant Heatran here, he definitely has the most HP out of all of them, coming in with 160 HP. He's a fire type. Again, you can't have more than one Radiant Pokemon in your deck, as you see right here. All of these cards do have some nice texture on them. If you pull them in real life, it's the same texture as if you would pull a Full Art Trainer or Full Art Pokemon V. And he has the Raging Blast attack, and that's it on this card, just Raging Blast. 1 fire energy, 2 colorless energy, 70 times. It does 70 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So the most you could have on here without adding something like a Cape of Toughness or Big Charm would be 15 damage counters on there, and 15 times 70 is a lot of damage. So Radiant Heatran definitely packs a punch, and you could put a Big Charm on here, you could put a Cape of Toughness, so that way Heatran can store up more damage counters and hit really hard with this Raging Blast. The only problem is though that to set up all those damage counters on there, you would probably have to use some sort of strategy with other Pokemon and trainer cards to set up Heatran, and since you can only have one Heatran in your deck, you don't have a great chance of getting him all set up. Like, you can't have multiple Heatrans, so you can sacrifice one while you set up another one. And if you get stuck in the prize cards, you might have to use something like a Hisuian Heavy Ball to get him out, which takes up more deck space. And Heatran, not the best Radiant Pokemon in my opinion. He's definitely the least playable of the three. I do say that I like the artwork on this card. I think the blue flames in the background look really cool. The other thing about Heatran though is, as a shiny Pokemon, you can't really tell the difference too much from a regular Pokemon, so Radiant Heatran, kind of a letdown for a Radiant Pokemon in my opinion. It's a cool card. Obviously it's very exciting if you pull a Radiant Pokemon in a pack, but Heatran, not the best. Let's talk about Hawlucha now with 90 HP, and he is a fighting type. I know a lot of people like the Hawlucha card because of the artwork. I do think that this one really pops with those cool purple and black colors on Hawlucha. So his ability is Big Match. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon VMAX. He also has the Spiral Kick attack for 50 damage and 1 fighting energy and 1 colorless energy. Not too big of a deal, but the ability is pretty awesome. So it does boost 30 damage on your attacks to your opponent's Pokemon VMAX. Very nice if you're trying to hit into something like Mew VMAX or other big Pokemon VMAX that have lots of HP. Adding a little bit of extra damage is always very nice. So you do have to have him on the bench for that ability to be activated, but it's very helpful. I feel like Radiant Hawlucha is a very balanced card. I don't think you can do a whole lot with it, especially because, as I've talked about in previous videos, Pokemon VMAX are kind of being phased out. So in Pokemon VMAX, you know, you're just not seeing them as much as Pokemon V-Star kind of start to come in and replace them. So there's not as much of an opportunity for Hawlucha to find, which is definitely a bummer. I could see this as a serious staple if we were playing it in the meta of the past few sets. You could put him down on the bench and that extra 30 damage would be a game changer, but he's just kind of late to the party and not as strong as he would have been if he were released a few sets ago. Let's go ahead and finish off by talking about Greninja. Now, Greninja has definitely received a lot of hype, and that's not just because he's one of the most popular Pokemon in the entire world. It is because he is incredibly playable. Water type, as a lot of other water type Pokemon are very strong in the format right now. Palkia V-Star, Lumineon V, Drizzile, Inteleon. We got Melody for some great water type support. Water is really doing well right now, and Greninja just only adds to that. So the ability on him is Concealed Cards. You must discard an energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw 2 cards. So that is basically like Chinchilla, or basically like Liepard with that trade ability where you discard a card from your hand and draw 2. The only difference is with Greninja, you have to discard an energy card. And what makes Greninja better than Cinccino and Liepard is that it's a basic Pokemon. Cinccino and Liepard are both stage 1s, and so it would take a turn to set them up, and while they do give you the option of being able to discard whatever card you want from your hand and replace it with 2 new cards, Greninja can be laid down immediately, maybe even on your first turn, and you can start discarding energy in draw 2. And Cinccino and Liepard, oftentimes they discarded energy anyway, because they work great with decks like Galarian Moltres V, and Greninja has been working the same way in a lot of decks. Obviously it's being played in Palkia V-Star, because you can discard water energy to re-accelerate with Melanie, or Palkia V-Star's V-Star power, and it works great in Dark-type decks right now with Dark Patch coming back, and cards like Galarian Moltres V, which accelerate Dark energy back from the discard pile. We also have a nice attack on Greninja here as well. Moonlight Shuriken for 2 water energy and a colorless energy, discards 2 energy from Greninja, and it hits for 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So even though Greninja is a water type Pokemon and this attack requires water type energy, it's being played in those dark type decks, and players are still including water type energy in their dark type decks just so they can make use of this Moonlight Shuriken attack, because it is very strong. It can finish off some of those Pokemon that just have a little bit of damage on them from something like Aura Burn on Galarian Moltres V. So Radiant Greninja, definitely a very strong card, and in my opinion the best of these 3 Radiant Pokemon. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hope you found this video on Radiant Pokemon helpful. I'll definitely be making some deck profiles in the future utilizing these Radiant Pokemon. I should have one with Radiant Greninja on the way soon, so make sure you hit that notification bell and the subscribe button to stay tuned for that. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.